Like on or flashing? Flashing?
That's on. I'm starting it again. My favorite song. Man, got 1 minute. Hey, Jay Lee Lopez. Hey, Barbara. Hi, Simon. Hey, Seamus. Jabba. Stony Burke. Stony. Barbara. Hey, babe. Hey, Mod. Barbara. Simon. Seamus is my man. Carol Tessie. That's my girl. Fly G. You hear the theme music. You know what time it is. You guys want to hear one more round of that because it's so live? Shout out to Joe Williams. Shout out to Beth. Shout out to the creators of the cups of the theme music. Yeah, I'm going to play it one more time. It's like 45 seconds of the best time of your life. Oh. Ah. Okay. Hold on. I like that song. While we get set up, to set the mood, and if you're not excited for tonight's podcast, you should be super calm. We've been dropping jewels all week. We about to drop some more tonight. I'm about to give you the whole roadmap to the dinar. No, it's not April 23rd, but this song, though. I'm doing the prep. Oh, my hair is curly. We have a new format to go live to where we can do all this live and not play it on an iPad or nothing. But until we get that going, y'all just start to jam my music. As we jam my music, shout out to Joe. Shout out to the Big Cut Beth. Shout out to all my King of Gurus and the King of Guru crew. It's Friday. TGIF in the building. I appreciate all you guys for coming out tonight. I appreciate my extra curly hair. Miss Didi let my hair down last night, and it was like a river run through it. Woo! Amen. Feels good to be here. How you feeling, Miss Beauty?
I'm feeling great.
Are you feeling good?
Mm-hmm.
I'm feeling extra good on the scene. Man, like I told you guys tonight, I'm going to have a special caller come in. We got the roadmap to the CBI, the IMF. Okay, I'm trying to, can you see that? Miss BB's going to go ahead and post the, probably the link in the description, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I want you guys to know that, has there been a time frame for the CBI to launch the reforms? Yes. All these people hating on what's going to happen? Yes. Why are they hating? Because they don't understand. And whoa.
What's wrong?
Oh, Seamus. Yes, stolen money. That's right. Okay, so what's wrong?
Nothing.
Oh, it's too long? I was trying to let them see it real good. You know what I'm saying?
You're going to post it, right?
Yeah, you're going to post it. But I just want them to know that I'm not on here just like shooting from like my hip. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I really do, like we do seek out true information to help our King of Guru squad to get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't just come up with stuff. I don't pull this out of the air. Like, this is not like some of these other calls or some of these other things that go on. We really try to like put forth the best information possible, right? Shout out to all my mods. Shout out to my news crew. Shout out to all the people that helped me today at Woke, Joe. Man, hold on. Let me give you all the names because a lot of these people put a lot of effort in this. Shout out to Joe. Shout out to Woke. Shout out to Bethany.
Lee.
Shout out to Lee, who came up with the whole thing, right? And Lee is going to call in, and I'm going to interview him because the whole thing about the article that we put up there today that everybody got on that, right? And it was a blessing. Everybody should have got on that. That was one of those rare jewels that the whole dinar community needed to know about. You know what I'm saying? Like the whole thing, like the whole article about raising the value of the dinar. And a lot of people are going to tell you, oh, Mr. Brando, you've been kind of down lately. You've been this. I have been, you know what I mean? Like I was really trying to pull forward some really like good information. I was really feeling the heat. But when we got off that call on Wednesday, Luther hit me about what, 1 o'clock in the morning, Texas time. And Luther was like, man, hold up, B, man. Look, Mr. Brando, I got this information. I ain't gonna lie, y'all. I slept on him. I was like, I'm sleepy. Me and Miss BB have had a long day. I'm super tired. The show takes a lot. My King of Gurus demand a lot. I've been up since 4 that morning trying to get it together. And I was tired, man. I was really tired. I slept on this. And I'm going to go ahead and do our introduction so we can go ahead and get this thing kicked off properly, right?
Oh, we didn't do an introduction.
Oh, you didn't introduce yourself? Who is you? Who is your people?
I'm April BB.
Y'all don't know who I am?
Mm-mm.
Do you not know who I am?
Mm-mm. Just a man that lives here.
I am Mr. Brando! Super strong! And welcome to the status of the Iraqi Dinar, IQD. Thank you guys. Woo! If you ain't excited about tonight, I don't know what's going to get you excited.
You sound like Ric Flair.
Woo! Hey, don't forget, gold or not gold. That was 2 shows ago now, right? You can either win a hat.
Oh, I got to do that, right? This show,
Right? Hat. Or, no, you got to do it on April 29th. Because we know on Basel 3 if it's going to go gold back or not gold back.
Oh.
Okay? So you got a hat. Or if you're a girl and you don't want a hat, I have a couple different sizes.
You might.
I mean, most boys, this is a big shirt.
A girl or you mean a woman?
Well, I mean, like, nice lady friend.
Oh, okay.
What does I say, girls? That's wrong? Chauvinistic?
Yeah.
I didn't mean it that way. I mean a girl in a good way. You're a girl. You're a girl.
Tell me somebody close.
A girl, for real.
Compliments.
But we gonna do the damn thing and we gonna do it right. So if you want a shirt, and I have a couple different sizes of shirts, I have a couple hats. That's just for the winners, the gold, not gold. Remember, on the giveaway of 50,000 dinar, whether the RV happens or doesn't happen, I'm still giving away 50,000 dinar. So all those who are out there wondering, is he going to give away actually whatever times the amount? Yes, I am. I'm going to pay it forward. I'm going to give it back. I don't ask anything of you guys. I don't want anything of you guys. The only thing I ask of you is to give a little bit of your time and to listen to the newscast and don't be a hater. If you don't like the stuff, to say, Mr. B, I disagree for these reasons. I'll agree with that. But if you call in here or you put some stuff in my line or you put some stuff on there and it's trash, I'm calling you out. I'm going to do my thing because I work too hard. Ms. BB and I deserve a little bit of respect. Put respect on our name, okay? So with that, I'm going to go ahead and get it kicked off. Now, as far as the news goes, we did Thursday's news. There's not a ton of news except the news I'm going to bring to you guys. I told you guys about Sadr. He ain't even in Iraq right now. His cousin's over there kicking up dust. IMF results, the dollar. Okay, so I think it befitting.
Like they put a whole bunch of kangaroos out there.
Woo!
And he said, throw your hands in the air.
Throw your hands in the air. Okay, y'all. Do you guys think we ought to get straight to the call? Because I do, right? I want to get Luther on the call, and then I want to have an opportunity for people to call in. So I want to explain the conscious path of the Iraqi dinar.
I thought you were going to read something first.
There's really not a lot of news, though.
No, I thought you put something together that are you going to do that with Luther?
I was going to do it with Luther.
Oh, okay, my bad. My bad.
So I need to call Luther, okay? And I needed to talk to him. And all my little Kango gurus, please bear with me. You guys know him as Pim Pim. I know him as Luther Ray. He got that good barbecue sauce, y'all. That good sauce. He be saucing it. You guys got to shout this boy out. Luther!
You caught me drinking a glass of wine.
Oh my gosh. Are you drinking wine on my show?
Oh, good Lord. You know why.
We don't drink on the Kanga Guru show. We don't do that.
That's not true. I don't have a cocktail today, but normally on Friday I have one.
I don't do that. I want everybody to be naturally high. Now,
hey, what we're finding out, they should feel that way.
Okay, Luther, first of all, let's get a little background going. Okay? Little background is that I posted an article on Wednesday that said that there was going to be a substantial rise in the Iraqi dinar via this next parliamentary session, which starts March 24th, according to my intel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you did a little bit of research, and would you please tell everybody what you did?
Well, it caught my attention, of course. I'm too impatient. So I said, okay, what they're not putting in there is when. And it was bothering me. I went to the people that put the article out, and I said, can you be more specific? And a person had responded and said, hey, the timeline's in there. I said, it's not. I'm looking at your article. But when it goes on to say something about the monetary policy, I said, it's in the monetary policy? Yeah. So I went to the monetary policy, and as I read the monetary policy, there are some references to the SBA and the memorandum of understanding with the IMF, and that's what. Hold on,
Luther. So everybody that studied the SBA probably would have missed this because they didn't look at the memorandum of understanding, correct?
Yeah, the memorandum of this is now, we joked about this earlier.
Right.
There were so many articles of these dinar gurus. We've seen many YouTube channels of everybody trying to guess when this is going to happen, but come to find out,
we knew
in the memorandum of understanding, the actual timeline in there. So when you go to the memorandum of understanding, it lays out benchmarks that must be met before the dinar can change.
Okay.
And so,
but Luther, hold on. Let me interview you for a second, okay?
Go ahead.
So in that memorandum of understanding that Mrs. Beebe is going to post in the community tab that anybody can read for themselves, right?
Yep.
What's the date on that so I can get everybody clear?
Well, the date starts back in 2014, and it starts talking about the different fiscal years.
Okay.
So if you think about if you remember that article where it said they weren't going to do anything for 5 years,
right?
That with the dinar. So if you think about when the article happened, this kind of is when this memorandum of understanding started. Right. When they said, hey, we're going to wait 5 years. But if you look in there, it starts in 2014, talks about benchmarks needed for 2014, 15, 16, and 17.
Okay.
But what people should not get caught up in is this. Don't get caught up in what you see in the years. The benchmarks are what's most important.
Why are the benchmarks important, Luther?
Because if they're not met, then they're not going to revalue the dinars. As you know, the dinar is pegged to the U.S. dollar. Now, this is where you come in with your knowledge more than me. I've only been at this game for a couple of months. So some of the things that I was reading, I was like, I'm not, here's what this is, but you will know, and that's why I brought it to your attention.
Right. Okay, but Luther, let me ask you a question, so don't go off the deep end. Luther, what is your regular job? What do you do for a living?
I'm an analyst, but my specialty is in the healthcare industry, but I also play around with and other types of investments. So
when you talk about analysts, do you decipher papers for a living, like white papers and stuff?
Well, no. What happens is I see something that I'm interested in. Like lately, it's been gold and silver. So I don't just go, hey, gold and silver, give me some info. No, I look at anything and everything outside of the box that affects gold and silver. Correct. So when I got into the dinar, I didn't just go, give me dinar revaluation news. No, I said, well, what kind of things affect the dinar? Politics, the economy, and anything and everything. So I look outside of the box, and that's what I do. So
that's how you paper about the IMF, and the IMF is in conjunction with, would you tell those, I put out a tweet, everybody, that said, my favorite government agencies come in threes or something about threes. Remember that? I said everybody runs from 3-letter government agencies. Most people think of the CIA, the FBI, or like TSA, right?
Yeah.
My favorite government entities that are 3 agents are the USA, the CBI, the IMF, the WB,
and the Federal Reserve, which is a 2-letter one, but
and the Federal Reserve that everybody hates.
Yeah.
But
yes,
if I'm going to paint the picture of what's what, the CBI, okay,
Yeah.
the CBI is what to the IMF.
Okay,
As
so
the United
we
States.
went to war with Iraq. You know this, all right?
Okay.
And so what happens is after you whip their butt, basically you're saying, look, we're sorry we beat you up, but let us help you rebuild,
Mhm.
basically is what it comes down to.
Mhm.
But that's not going to happen right away. They're going to say to them, we have to have understand the people that could, I should say, funnel the money actually, is the IMF. Okay, the IMF says, look, let's help them rebuild. Let's help them do what we need to do to make them successful. But they get the Federal Reserve involved because the U.S. has major interest in what's going on in Iraq. So they're saying, from the U.S. side of it, we have to make sure that they're not funding terrorists, going with Iran or doing anything negative that's going to hurt the interests of the United States. So the Federal Reserve gets involved. Of course, the IMF involved as well because they're who they're going to get some of their money from. And, and they help them with special projects. I know we were talking about this earlier because in there, for you people who are involved with Georgia's stock situation. Okay, I'll wait.
Stop. I'm interviewing you. Okay.
Okay.
So now, what is the IMF? So, okay, the IMF and the United States Federal Reserve are what to Iraq? Would you call that a parent-teacher relationship? What would you call that?
Yeah, you could call them like they're the parents. So if you look at it, basically, the IMF and the Federal Reserve are the parents, and Iraq is the child. So pretend like you're taking your child out to ride a bike, and they got training wheels on, so to speak. That's a good way to look at it. So right now we're at a point where we're getting ready to remove the training wheels.
Okay.
Okay.
Those training wheels are the restrictions that are holding back the IQD from being internationally recognized and them accepting what we would know fondly
it's Article 8.
Is Article 8. Now, Article 8 is not part of the Iraqi Constitution. Guidelines. How many guidelines are there under the Articles? Isn't it 14, Luther?
Oh, there's a lot.
There's a lot, right? So there's a lot, right?
Yeah,
Article 8 is just one of them, right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Article 8 is the last one, but you got to understand that once it's accepted, that's when everything goes. Everything goes.
Excellent point.
My opinion is it's about to be accepted. Once that happens, there isn't like anything prolonged or anything like that. That just means that they agree to accept the terms of Article 8. And once that happens, then this is when you take the training wheels off. And that's about to happen.
And I'll read that passage to you guys, okay? And I'm sorry about crunching that ice shell. I apologize for that if it's too loud in your ears.
No.
So the next part of our discussion, right? We need to get into the white paper. We need to dive right in, right? And so one question that a lot of people are going to ask is who was involved in the white paper? So it was formerly the Prime Minister Abadi, and I'll put it right here so Ms. Bibi can say it, right? And basically, Christina Lagarde, like her or don't like her, says that in response to PM Abadi, there are 2 preference criteria, PCSs, at the end of September to appear have been met on preliminary audited data, and out of the 5 performance criteria at the end of June 2016 were met. So there's 6 criteria and already 3 were met when they met right here, right?
Yes.
Okay. The approval of the draft management law, according to the World Bank and the IMF recommendations, that the adoption of the bylaw to set up a mechanism to comply with the relevance of the UN Security Council, the resolution on terrorism and terrorism financing. So I got to give a little backstory real quick. If you guys wonder why there's all this push to rid themselves of ISIS, that's the United States saying, we're going to stay there till you rid yourself of ISIS. Why are they going to say themselves and rid themselves of ISIS? Because if they rid themselves of ISIS, they're one step closer to Article 8. 8 being the biggest hurdle they have to overcome, okay? That's why you see so many things about terrorism and corruption. It's not a stall tactic, y'all. This is
it's also tied into the auctions. Keep that in mind.
Okay, but we're not getting to the auctions yet. There is a purpose for the auctions, and it's not for Iran to steal. Remember, I reported to you guys to get $500 cash out of the CBI is almost an act of Congress. Do you see what I'm saying? So we're going to get to that. So just hang on, okay?
I am.
So now, when you get into the white paper, which part do you think, should I read that passage that you gave me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Pim gave me a passage to read to you guys. I call him Luther Ray Vaughn. You guys can call him Pim. Pimpy, sorry. I call him Pimpin. He's a pimp. He's a data pimp. Oh, Luther stuff, like Luther Vandross.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about him.
It is. He got many names, baby.
Pimpy?
Oh.
That's my nickname.
On YouTube, he's Pimpy.
Oh.
I have 2 profiles on Facebook because I got my own political group, and I keep put in the Facebook jail. So I have to have one as a backup.
You're a radical, that's why.
Yeah.
So first of all,
people are in my group, and they can see why.
Let's come up with a couple definitions, right? First of all, the auctions are going to have what's called an ancillary revenue, right?
Yes.
An ancillary revenue is a revenue generated from the goods or services that differ from or enhance the main services or product lines of a company by introducing new products and services or using existing products to branch into new markets. Company create additional opportunities for growth. Boom. Now, there seems to be many who cannot grasp or don't want to grasp the process between the IMF, the CBI, and Article 14. Article 8 and what's that compliant entails. The CBI is a member of the IMF Charter under what is known as a transitional arrangement of Article 14. The objective under the Charter is meant to be temporary as soon as the CBI is prepared to accept the obligations of Article 8, right?
Yes, that's important. Yes.
That's the main thing. They should be prepared. Articles 8. They should avail itself of the transitional arrangements. In other words, Article 14 is meant to train and learn and prepare for the obligations under Article 8. So everything they've been doing right now, that's why you see, now Pimpy, tell them everything that they've seen for a second, okay? You've seen stuff about anti-corruption, anti-money laundering, the tariffs, the taxes. All this is in this white paper.
It has to be, because remember now, this is where the Federal Reserve of the United States gets involved. Their interest in making sure that this is, you want to make sure that Iraq is not funding terrorists or siding with Iran. Well, that's changed a little bit. We'll talk about it later. But, there's, you want to make sure that they're going to stay on your side. So there's measures put into place to make sure that they're not just blowing smoke up the butts of the United States, but that they're actually doing what they're supposed to be doing in agreement with this memorandum of understanding.
And not just the United States, the IMF, the World Bank, other people that have given them donor money and donor conference money, they want to make sure they're transparent and their books are open. But we're going to talk about books.
Those people are also allies of the United States, but they also want to know that if they're going to donate this kind of money to help rebuild the country, that the money that they're given is going to be exactly what it's for, which is to rebuild the country. And
Pimpy, the opportune word is loan, not give, right? Loan.
There is a combination of 2 things. I've seen donated and loan.
But the donor conference was money that was loaned.
Donated.
90% of the money that's in the donor conference is loaned. Sorry, they're loans. They're not giving them anything. That's why Iraq can't get rich off of loans. You got to pay that money back. That's all part of this SBA agreement, which is a part of the memorandum of understanding, paying back the money that you borrow. And only being late by 90 days. That's all you got a grace period of, right?
Yeah. But again, now we're starting to get into the things we were talking about. Why the auctions happen, why the money goes out, what's the purpose of it.
Okay. Well, let me keep reading.
Good.
Article 8 under the demonstrated to the IMF that they can comply under Article 8 guidelines. They have to show the IMF that they can meet those conditions under Article 8 before they can actually receive Article 8. Okay?
Yes.
So the bottom line really is, folks, until the CBI can show the IMF that they can follow the rules, they are not compliant with Article 8. Okay? Now, everybody's probably out there going, well, duh, we know that. That's why we're all sitting here, right? But you don't understand the benchmarks that gets them to Article 8, which gives you the timeline, which tells you why there's taxes, tariffs, and everything else, and gives you a general understanding of a time frame when it's all supposed to happen, right?
Yeah, which is what I was joking about. I was like, all along, people have been waiting for years saying it's going to happen, when if they would have known and just looked here, they would have seen there was a timeline. You could have said, once these things are done, so the meeting should have been more like, has this been met? Has this been met? Instead of when. So, I wasn't trying to mock nobody, but I was just,
no.
You were joking about it,
Me, myself, I've done the same thing. I kept saying, well, why not today? Why not today? They've done this, they've done that. Well, they didn't do it because they didn't hit those benchmarks. Right. Now, if they hit those benchmarks, we'd be compliant and we'd be at the bank.
Well, which brings us back into the audits, which are really important. They play a key role. Me and you were talking about, the audit can hurt people in the sense that, remember we were talking about that gang that stole the 120 million dinar?
That was stolen.
Had they not been able to recover that, you would have looked at something that everybody would have hated. And that would have been the creation of a new currency, because with that dinar being stolen, that means it could have fell into the hands of terrorists and they would have been able to benefit from them.
There would have been enough money that would have fell into their hands. It would have been life-changing for Iraq.
Yes.
Thus them having to stop. And that's why a LOP is not feasible, correct?
Right, but they did find the money back.
Right, they got the money back.
So there's no issue now. Now we're not worried about any new currency. That's not going to happen.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay, hold on. Miss BB had something to say. Hold on, Miss BB, go ahead.
No, I didn't.
You gonna sit there and look cute?
No.
Give me a kiss right here.
No.
Okay, Luther. Now getting back to my whole point of this.
Yeah.
The CBI's objectives is to liberalize the foreign exchange market, and that steps to simplify the market regulations. However, staff urges that the CBI to take immediate further measures to liberalize fully the supply of foreign exchange with the objectives of exchange rate spread, removing distortions, eliminating rents, and ultimately complying with Article 8 of the fund. Now, let's talk about the auctions, but let's go back and let's talk about your interview with the guy that you talked to about the article. Would you please tell them in a summation when you tell the guy what happened and tell him a little bit of background on that, please?
Well, basically, he just pointed me in a lot of different directions, and I just kind of bounced stuff off him. He wouldn't say too much, but,
And he would not come on the show, right? He would not come on the show.
No, because, truthfully, there's not a lot they can say. Most of this is going to be opinion-based, but it's not really something that is just generated out of the air. The information is there for you to digest and come up with your own opinion. Mm-hmm. He's just saying, keep going this direction. Now, some of the things that caught my attention when we talked about the auctions were this. The purpose of the auction, and this is kind of interesting, and that is, these currencies get created. Dean, you talked about this. We have these uncirculated currencies. You know about this.
Right.
The currencies are sold. I do realize that there are some currency that's not uncirculated. But basically what happens is they auction out the currencies, all right?
Right.
They do this for a reason.
Now, what currency do they auction off?
The dinars.
No. Okay. Circulated or uncirculated?
We've seen, both, but I think it's uncirculated.
It's always uncirculated.
All the auctions are all uncirculated.
Correct.
Yeah,
now,
I don't think I've seen any that are circulated.
Correct.
They're all uncirculated. And that is because the bank doesn't want, or I should say the IMF in the United States does not want the bank to be holding all this crisp new money in fear that somebody can get their hands on it.
Now, who would get their hands on it? Hold on. Who by trail would get their hands on it? I don't know that money.
Corrupt politicians, gangs, ISIS, terrorists, anybody like that. You don't want anybody that could be a threat to the United States or even to the Iraqi people. You don't want them getting their hands on this money.
So hold on. They sell that currency that's uncirculated. Yes. No, I got to give a little background. Remember, I told you guys there's large institutional buying out there, and I know this for a fact, and I will reveal it on April 23rd. They only bought a certain series, a certain year, a certain denomination, all uncirculated. Why? Yes. Why, Luther? Tell them.
Okay, but basically what happens is people then buy the currency and they hold on to it. You're not going to walk around with Iraq currency in your pocket.
Right.
Most of us put it in a little savings or whatever in hopes that this change is going to happen to the rate, just like it happened in Kuwait, and we can make money off this. They already know this. So basically what happens is each individual acts like a personal piggy bank on behalf of the Iraq bank. They know that the money is out there in good hands, and when the time comes and they need it to come back, they change the rate, and people then turn their currencies in for the bank to use. That's basically what happens with it. There's other purposes for it, but that's the real purpose.
Okay, so instead of those corrupt politicians stealing the money out of the CBI, which is uncirculated, so it's really undocumented, what happens to that money once they sell it? Where does it go?
Well, it goes to different investors.
But hold on. It goes to certain investments, but it really goes to an auxiliary fund, right?
Oh, well, here now you're talking about the auxiliary fund is how they cover the cost difference in when they low sell the money versus when they change the rate. Because one of the things I was thinking about was it doesn't make sense to sell $1 for 2 pennies, knowing that when you went to buy a vac, you would spend $1 on it. So to speak, I'm just making that number up.
Okay, hold on. So if I'm going to take that currency from the auctions and put it into a fund that I basically sold way under, I've been putting this in this fund for almost what? 10, 15 years
10,
now?
15 years. But not just from the auction. You got to remember that they're taking money from some of the oil sales and they're putting it in the same ancillary account. And it sits there and accumulates interest and accumulates value. That money is what they're going to use to make up the difference from the time for what they sold the currency for versus what they're actually going to pay for it.
Hold on. Luther, you got to stop, man. You're talking too fast now. Slow down.
Go ahead.
Slow down. So the purpose of the auctions, part of that money goes to a fund, right?
Yes.
Called an auxiliary fund. And we know the name of the fund exactly. Now, that fund is drawing interest for several years. That's not their reserves, right? That's not their foreign reserves, right?
No, it's a totally separate, untouchable special account.
Okay, so when you talk about they're selling, let's say, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, whatever 100 million, part of that money goes to a fund that's been collecting interest. And therefore, if you're going to have a revaluation, that money right there would actually go back into your reserves at that point, and that's how you're going to cover the cost of a revaluation.
Yeah, because do you see what I'm saying, though? It doesn't make sense to have a currency that you sell low and then turn around paying an arm and a leg for it. That doesn't make no sense. You have to be able to plan in advance how to cover the difference in value, because if you did not cover the difference in value, it would be a major hit to your economy once the reevaluation happens. So before that happens, what do? They put the money aside knowing that when they change the rate and you go to cash it in, that doesn't affect their economies. They're off in a negative. They're ready to hit the ground running.
And they're in a positive because they got the money to cover it, and the account has been collecting interest for over 10, 15 years.
Yes. And remember, there's more things contributing to that account other than just the auctions or the interest. There's some of the money from their oil reserves that they sell are being taken and put in there as well. So it's been accumulated for quite some time. There's trillions of dollars in it. Just,
Okay. So Luther, plainly put, when you accompany that auxiliary fund, what do we call that? We call that a ancillary fund, ANCILLARY revenue. That fund goes to a fund, and with that fund goes, now you can put your reserves with that, and therefore, because of interest and accumulation, that's how they can cover the cost of a revaluation into the dollars or more than $1 to cover the cost of a reinstatement, correct?
Without it affecting in a negative way their economy.
So I get gold, I get silver, I understand where you're going with all that because you're a big gold silver guy, but and hence, that is the purpose of the auction. Now, would you also tell me this? I'm going to say this. I'm going to be stupid, okay? So bear with me.
Okay.
So Luther, I'm going to say this to you. I talk to all these different people. Well, we know that Iran is taking that money that's coming from those auctions, Luther. So how are they taking that money and they're not counting that? Because that money revalues. That's going to make Iran rich, right?
No, you got to understand that every auction you have audits. There's these benchmarks on which there's audits. You have to be able to account for the money and where it went. All right, you have to be. If they fail an audit, then we go back to step one and start over. But here's the thing. Now, based on what I can read. Now, again, this is just my opinion. The States is using. Now they're using Iraq to get to Iran.
They're baiting them.
Yes, if you're not paying attention to what's going on political-wise, this is why Iran wants to do this banking thing with Iraq. This is why they keep saying, hey, let's partner up. We don't need the United States. Do you think the United States would allow that? It's just not going to happen.
But they stopped them. Hold on. They stopped them. They said, you can buy goods and you can buy this from them. But at $1 million or $2 million a day that Iran needs to collect from just the small thing of electricity. You can't collect it in hard currency.
Yeah, but if you notice, though, here's what's happening: is it's getting to the point where we're seeing Iran is starting to put all their eggs in one basket and totally relying on Iraq. This, in my opinion, is exactly what the United States wants, because when they are totally dependent on Iraq, that's when the United States jumps in and goes, hello, and then they're going to be able to get Iran to the table and get what they want from Iran.
Okay, so let's stop talking about opinion. Let's get back to facts.
Okay.
So we know that the auctions are going into a dual fund. We know that there are 2 sets of books in Iraq. We can prove it, right?
Yeah, it has to be.
We can prove it. There might be 3 sets, but I know there's 2. There's a set of books that the IMF sees that are within compliance of, what would you say, about 2%?
Yeah, within 2%.
Okay.
Has to be. If it's it has to be. That's part of the agreement, by the way.
So meaning when they go out to get money from a country, they can show a loss and say, look, we're poor. We don't have any money. We need money. And then show them a set of books. And then when they say, hey, we're dealing with a big government entity. Hey, we need money. Here's our real books. Boom, boom. You can give us more, right?
Oh, yeah. As long as they're within compliance. And that's within
2%.
2% margin.
So they really give them 2% to lie in, basically, right?
Yeah, well, 2%, if you think about the overall picture, 2% really is nothing. But that's why they allow it, because you're always going to have something where you have damaged bills or whatever you want to say. There's always an excuse. But 2% is really small, and that still keeps a really tight rein on Iraq.
Okay, hold on.
And it allows them to do business.
It allows them to do business. So I'm going to read this to you. The market's recent step to simplify market regulations. However, staff urges the CBI to take immediate further measures to liberalize fully the supply of the foreign exchange, with the objective of lowering the exchange rate spread, removing distortions, eliminating rents, and ultimately complying with Article 8. We know all that.
Yep.
Now, this paragraph is talking about the daily currency auctions conducted each day in order for Iraq to complete business. The concept of these auctions is to provide foreign currency to merchants out of country purchase to allow country's economy to function as Iraq is currently primary as importer of goods. Liberalizing the foreign exchange means to minimize restrictions or to make dollars readily available. I'm going to stop there. Now, if you eliminate the auction, what would be a way that you could get a worldwide auction house to supply Iraq full of money that would be legal and more than compliant within their whole regulation? Luther.
They're gonna have to, in my opinion, have to change the rate of the exchange.
No. I'm gonna bet they would simply have to execute the ISX. If you execute the ISX, you're gonna get people from like me sitting in my house in my pajamas.
Oh, yeah, but also keep in mind now, I see what you're saying now. Okay. Now this goes back to what we were talking about earlier, about hitting the ground running. Remember I was telling you about, I noticed in there under a lot of the agreements under the Federal Reserve's website, as well as in the IMF's website, that, they already know in order for Iraq to be successful, they have to be able to hit the ground running.
Right.
Okay? And in there you see there's countries and companies making agreements in which they're going to help Iraq build the infrastructure. So the ISX, you would be really happy to see this information, because once the dinar revalues, guess what? The floodgates are going to open. All hell in the positive way is going to break loose as far as the value of the exchange. It has to. There's no, in order for them to be successful in the rebuilding of the infrastructure, the amount of the dinar has to change and be higher than where it is right now. It's impossible not to.
Okay, so I'm looking through the Memorandum of Understanding. Okay, in light of the limited time since the approval of the SBA, the Board of Supreme Audit. Now, April, would you please tell everybody what are the 4 major auditing people that are in Iraq? You've named it before. It's Price, Water,
PwC.
Well, no, speak to them like they don't understand. What does PwC mean?
PricewaterhouseCoopers, Ernst & Young, Deloitte & Touche, and I can't remember the fourth one.
KPMG. Now, we know for a fact that all those auditors are in Iraq, right? We know that. We've reported it. We know that. We know that like we know our name. I don't have to guess at that. I know that. Okay? Now, with that, that's why you've seen Mahandi come in at first, and the very he wanted to do was what? Eliminate the ghost employees and the ghost soldiers that were collecting money under the funds. Under, meaning that we got to get rid of all these people on the government teat. And that way what we can do is we can constrain the amount of money that's going out that we can account for. Meaning they had to lower their pensions and everything else, right?
Yes.
That makes sense. In light, the limited time since the SB's approval, the audit of the government pensions payroll, which accounts for about, at that time, 2 billion beneficiaries to identify ghost petitioners, i.e. people who receive pensions without legal or regulatory justification. And this was in 2015. The National Board of Pensions implemented a campaign to clear its retirees data registry, resulting in the removal of at least 30,000 non-eligible just retirees. That's not soldiers or anybody else. So that's people removed.
But also it's part of the memorandum of understanding.
Well, that's what I'm reading from. Now, because remember, I'm doing the interview, so I know what I'm going to ask you before you know I'm going to ask you, because it has to be genuine. Now, remember this, right? So if we eliminate let me put it like this. If we understand and we define the auctions, and we understand and we define the pensions, and we understand, didn't they talk about tariffs and taxes and stuff way back here too?
No,
I'll read it to you. Hold on. We knew that there was going to be tax and tariffs on certain goods and services.
Yes.
We knew that those taxes and tariffs were stuff that they've released in writing to everybody in the last few months, right?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely.
Anywhere from juice
we talked
to...
about this earlier. The people have to be able to pay taxes too. Now, that's key. They have to be able to pay taxes.
Under what? Non-oil revenue, correct?
Yes. Property taxes, sales tax, all that kind of stuff in there. There's a list of them in there, by the way.
Right. And we'll release that to you guys so you can read it for yourselves, okay? So when people start telling you, it ain't going to happen, what's taking so long? This is the reason why it takes so long, okay?
Well, not only is it going to happen, it's going to happen soon, like this year, within the next couple of months.
So we speculate. Hold on. So we speculate.
We are speculating.
So we speculate.
But you know why we have reason to think so.
I do. Now, with that reason, right, we know that there is a peg, and we also know that not only does their foreign reserves include the dollar, it includes monies from their SDR basket, correct?
Oh, yeah.
The SDR basket was in effect way before 2014. So meaning they can hold yuan, dollars, everything else, right?
Yes.
Now,
it's in there, yes.
This is the key point, right? The government is committed to maintaining the peg to the dollar. The peg provides a key anchor in highly uncertain environment.
Training wheels on your bike.
Right?
Yeah.
Which policy capacity weakened by the conflict with ISIS. The CBI increased the amount of the daily foreign exchange sales without significant impact on the spread so far. To address the foreign exchange sales by the CBI would finance terrorism, money laundering, or illegal activities. Hence the anti-money laundering law, hence the counterterrorism law. That's why these processes were in effect, correct?
Yes.
The government will gradually remove the remaining exchange restrictions and a MCP with a view of eliminating exchange rates or distortions. Such a move, and the acceptance of Article 8 of the IMF Articles of Arrangement
that right there is big. Yes.
Will send a positive signal to investment community that Iraq is committed to maintain an exchange system that is free of restrictions and MCP from current international trade, and thus facilitate creation of a favorable business environment. That's it.
There it goes.
If I was going to drop the mic right now, I could drop it right now. That is the sum total right there.
And for the people that are in with George, you want that to happen, because once that happens, the dinar value changes, the stock goes boom, just the same. It's going to keep going boom for years to come. Because
what happened is the more they show transparency, the more we know that they are compliant with everybody else, right?
Well, this is what we're talking about. Just because this happens, the United States is still going to be monitoring, and they have a certain, what's the best way to put it? Certain monitoring procedures in place to make sure that they stay on the level and continue doing what they're doing, and really monitor the corruption.
Correct. Monitor the corruption is the main thing.
Yeah. And that the money is truly going to the Iraqi people for the sole purpose of rebuilding their entire country. The infrastructure is important. You got to understand the reason why me and you talked about this, and my opinion was that it was going to happen right away, is because they want this to happen by this spring, so that when summertime comes, that this stuff's already in full swing. People have their jobs, infrastructure is being dealt with, and these people, they're getting paid so they can pay their tax. But, they can't walk around with the dinar. Me and you talked about this.
Right.
So what's going to happen? You can't walk around with 10,000, 100,000 dinars in your pocket. It's just not going to happen. So how do they address that? Well, this is where the revaluation comes in, but also the lower denominations and the ATM cards. Obviously, people aren't going to get paid, walk around with damn money in their pocket with a bunch of little hoodlums running around robbing them. That's not going to happen. They'll be able to keep the money that they get paid in the bank, and they're going to use the ATM cards to pull it out whenever they need it.
Correct.
So that's important. Yes.
Okay.
So that's another reason why we know the revaluation is getting ready to happen, like, soon. Okay, that's another indicator.
What is? Tell them one more time what that indicator is.
What's the indicator? The big indicator is the fact that these people are getting ready to be put to work by a lot of different companies right away, and they can't walk around with damn dinars in their pocket, 10,000, 100,000 dinars. This is not going to happen.
Free capital flow, hence means that you can put your money into an account, and you don't have to worry about it being stolen or taken from the government. That's why
things we're talking about. Some of the rumors we're talking about the Q card, the Q. Remember at the ATM? I don't know specifically if that's what it is,
right?
But people cannot be walking around with damn money in their pocket with the chances of being robbed. They have to be able to put it somewhere safe. All right, and there's going to be huge market boom once the doors are open, and I believe it's going to. There's nothing out there that tells me otherwise than the fact that it's going to start this spring. It has to. It has to happen. There's too many countries. If you look in the news, me and you talked about this, but if you look in the news, the Iraq news, the Skybox or any of them, look at all these countries coming to them, trying to get trade agreements now. They're trying to come. They're donating money. They're giving them loans. They're setting up business agreements. Over the last few months, we've seen this rush of countries and businesses coming to Iraq saying, let's do business. They wouldn't be doing that unless they thought it was close to the time. It's now. It's going to happen.
Let's talk about real fast before I let you go. Matter of fact, let me let you go now, okay?
Okay.
You dropped a bomb. I'm going to bring you back on Monday, okay? We're going to go through the rest of it, but I'm going to give them the benchmarks, and I want them to do their homework, and we're going to talk. I'm going to answer about 10 minutes worth of questions, and we're going to be done, okay?
All right. Sounds good.
Brother, you are the man.
Everybody have a good evening.
Kanga Guru style, crew, gang up. You're the man. Peace. So, when somebody tells you that something's not going to happen, first of all, do more homework than the average Kanga Guru would do. That's first. Second of all, benchmark for everything that needs to happen. So, if you haven't taken the time out right now, would you please get out a pen and paper, or you're going to have to watch this about 5 times, and I want you to check these things off with me, and I'm going to read them to you. Number 1, the adoption of the Council of Ministers the decision to require verification of the Board of Supreme audit of all rears of non-oil intensifies by the Minister of Planning on weed and ration of goods. Completion survey of all rears of the government, payments due to more than 90 days of at least September. Current spending salaries, meaning they have to have all their rears paid up. Audit of the Board of Supreme audit, non-oil identified as by the Minister of Planning. Purchases identified. Survey of the debt dictatorate of the Minister of Finance, all guarantees issued by the central government. Compromise the amount of guarantees is maturing the identity of the signatory of the guarantee and the identity of the beneficiary guaranteed. Now, that's the strength in debt management. External audit of the grass international reserves and the domestic assets of the Central Bank of Iraq. That is the strength safeguards asset. That's a law we should be looking out for. External audit of the total public debt at the end of December as identified of the TMU, excluding, that's the straight up debt management. Now, that's not the part I wanted to read to you. A lot of these have been met. The ones that haven't been met that we need to do research on, that I need everybody to tell me, this is what's going on. I need to know if the completion of the Board of Supreme audit of an audit of the government wage earner payroll to identify ghost wage earners, i.e. people who receive pensions and wages without legal or regulatory justification. I need to know if that law has been passed. Number 2, I need to know completion of the Board of Supreme audit of the government pensioner payroll to identify ghost pensioners i.e. people who receive wages without legal or regulatory justification. I need to know that. I need to know if the domestic arrears payment due for more than 90 days is in effect. I need to know if the Ministry of Finance to produce report of all reoccurrent and investment comments or commitments in coordination with the Ministry of Planning. That's to improve their cash management. I need also to know if the Council of Ministers and the introduction of parliaments to the law of the central bank. I already know that's been met. That one right there was the one I read to you guys last week about the central bank having more power over their own entity. They already passed that. I know that one. But this is the last one, y'all. This is the big one, okay? I need to know if the approval from the Council of Ministers and the introduction to Parliament of any of the amendment of the investment law or insurance of clarifying implementing regulations by the Central Bank of Iraq to remove the limitations or transfer investment proceeds that give the rise to the Iraqi dinar. So if you guys can at any of those or part of those are in effect, I would be mucho gracias. I think the investment law has been amended. I think a lot of these have been done, but I just didn't know these last couple that I read you. I'm sorry I don't have time to read them twice, but we've gone a long time. I've given you guys a whole bunch of info. Ms. Bibi, you got anything to say? Just know this. Is there a guideline to the Iraqi dinar revaluation? Yes, here it is. Just understand that it's not make-believe. You are validated. The IMF, the CBI, the Federal Reserve have been watching this and monitoring it. It's right here. Just know it's real. Just know that the person that wrote the article told us that it wanted to revalue next session, which starts this month, the 24th, and goes through April. That's why I told y'all from that 24th all the way to April 23rd, I will know everything I need to know about the Iraqi dinar from these institutional buying. Boom, end of story. That's it. I'm going to take a couple questions.
They were teasing me for not kissing you.
Kiss me on my cheek.
I was trying not to leave makeup on you.
Leave makeup all over daddy. Y'all, like I told y'all via Twitter, if you knew what I knew, you dance every day. Don't be snioped. That is accessible to negative influence of other people. Don't be snioped. I know it's easy to get down. You got the club. You got your currency. You got your health. You got your family. I got a lady coming on here next Wednesday that is an economist that believes in the dinar. I talked to her extensively today. She's going to be on here Wednesday. She's going to tell you why economically all this is feasible based upon the information that I've given her. Oh, kisses. Anyway, she's also a coin builder and a coin holder. She's involved in rebuilding the Caribbean. She's going to get on here and she's going to talk to you not only about wealth. I'm going to interview her about how things are going to take place. And I'm also going to make sure you guys are well in the afterlife after the RI. You guys make me feel better. Tony, you should feel ecstatic. Seamus, salute. He had it. I gave it to him. I gave it to Mr. Frazier. I gave it to Joe. Joe just told me, I get it now. Once you talk us through it, I get it. I couldn't give all the Kenga Gurus all of it at one time. If I did, I gave away the whole show. You can tell everybody you understand if you watch this why this will happen. Because the member of understanding, not the SBA, the member of understanding. And remember, they told you, party's about to hit. Every Iraqi, big or small, fat or tall, whatever, is going to have a quality of life that deserves a free house, free car, employment, money, everything. They already gave it away. They gave it to you. People charge $10 for this? No, they tell you a bunch of crap that has nothing to do with this. They never put the pieces together. They never connect the dots. That's why, please, my little gurus and my Kenga gurus out there, don't pay for it. Call the phone, hit babe, hit ape, hit me, hit for clarity.
Hit the bell.
Hit the bell and love this. Because you know, for the last 3 minutes, I'm playing my song. I'm playing my song. Y'all, you should be enthused.
I'm enthused. Go see the movie.
Boom, boom, boom. Is Bruce going to call me? Bruce ain't going to call me.
Who's Bruce?
Bruce, he's some guru guy.
Brother Bruce.
Bro Bruce, he ain't gonna call me. That's wicked nice. Smackdown. Yeah, y'all. Guys, we put the whole thing with the whole thing tonight. If you don't understand what we just said, the auctions have a purpose. Iran's going to be suckered into the auctions and put all their eggs into that. And we've already seen the United States already say, no hard currency. You're going to see that further and further and further. No crap, just the facts, just the news.
Just the facts, man.
We got a couple minutes. Hit the bell, hit the like. If you didn't like it, hit the thumbs down. But if you're going to hit the thumbs down, tell me why you thumbs it down and share this video with everybody. Share this with every person you can think of that they have a question about the dinar and why the dinar has a function and why the dinar make you money, in my opinion. Now, you can tell me differently. I'm going to show you differently based upon the IMF reports, based upon things that I see. I can't tell you anything different. I can just tell you what I've read. Now, Bruce Dingleberry, y'all don't talk about him. It's funny. We got 4 minutes, so I'm going to take you guys out with my theme song. I got to take Miss BB on a date. She's been wanting her little date night for a few minutes.
We're going to go see Jordan Peele's movie, Us.
Yep, we're going to go see Us. And I am Mr.
I am people, baby. And I am the humblest.
Got movie ticket?
And that's the news. They can say what they want, but they got to give you the facts. If they ain't got the facts, don't listen to it. You're smarter than that. Way smarter than that. Y'all are the bomb. She's smart. She's very smart. And a lot of y'all are going to have to listen to this at least 2 or 3 times. I get it. Listen to it. Understand what you're seeing. But understand this. The IMF told them that they have to raise the dinar. Understand that if you don't understand anything. And if they want a copy of it to dispute it, tell them they can do it. They can go through what I did. Call the government agency. That's the numbers. Highlight things you got to read, look up. I'm just telling y'all, you guys are way ahead of the curve. Don't be disappointed. Don't be discouraged. Don't be anything but encouraged. Your time is coming. I love you guys. Have a great evening.